Hello and welcome to Business Today. I am Siddharth Zarabi and with me the CMD of Indian Oil, one of India's largest public sector companies, S Sahney. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Davos, crisp and clean air, but the big theme along with the overall theme of intelligent age is the energy transition and the climate challenges that the whole global economy faces. Your initial thoughts on the subject of energy transition and how India is placed in that?
Energy transition is here. We have to accept it, and we in India, we are committed to being net zero by 46 rather. And as a company, we are also gearing up to meet those challenges. Today, the energy pie is going to increase. The India's energy pie is going to be double by 2040 or so, and we want to be there in all forms of energy, but not necessarily into fossil fuel, because fossil fuel will have a certain percentage of the energy pie going forward up till 2040 also. But the balance of it is going to come from the cleaner energy, it is going from the sustainable energy, and we in Indian Oil and India as such will have a significant role to play in bringing the energy to a sustainable form.
I will ask you a couple of questions specific to this before we move on to other subjects. And you know, the global energy landscape is evolving, not just in India where there is a lot of effort towards sustainability. How do you see Indian Oil being positioned for this change that is underway? And you spoke about it, you yourself have taken over Indian Oil. What's the agenda that you are setting for this company?
Going forward, today if you see a larger picture, if you see that today we are 9% of the Indian energy pie is supplied by Indian Oil. That is the status today. Going forward, as I said, Indian energy demand will be double. So in that double scenario, I want to retain my 9% energy share, and I want to increase that share to 12.5%. Not necessarily by the way that I am doing today. Today, almost 95% of my energy offerings are coming from conventional fossil fuel only. But going forward, it will be around 40-50% of it will be coming from conventional fuels.
40-50 of the incremental addition of the entire?
Of the total entire one.
Okay.
It will be a huge pie. So I will maintain where I am. Of my all refineries I have to maintain, and then the other quarter will come from gas probably, which is a natural gas, which is going to be a cleaner fuel, and another quarter or more than that will come from totally new energies, which will be renewables, which will be bio, which will be coming from solar, which will be coming from wind, which will be coming from all other sources of which are sustainable, which are green, which are non-fossil. So that is the kind of agenda that we are keeping for 2040. That quarter of it will come from sustainable, quarter of it will from the cleaner natural fuels, and almost 50+% will come from the core business that I am doing today. So that is the kind of.
As an energy expert, what do you think will be the winning technology or winning alternative fuel of the future, or will it be a mix of everything?
Especially speaking in an Indian context. I will talk of Indian context, because in Indian context, as I said, that energy demand is huge. It is going to be big, and we are betting on it that as the GDP grows, as the industry grows, as the middle class grows, as the people demand grows, as the standard of living grows, energy demand has to grow. So with this energy demand growing, I can't have a one size fits all kind of arrangement. It will be a combination of all. As technologies evolve, green hydrogen is a very promising technology, but today green hydrogen is costing me around 3 times more than the grey hydrogen, and that grey hydrogen itself is a bit expensive than the conventional fossil fuel. So you can imagine how many times it has to go. But the technology has to come in, the AI has to come in, the machine learning has to come in, and some new inventions have to happen. We are investing heavily on R&D in each one of those. Green hydrogen, we are investing heavily. Biotechnology, we are investing heavily. We are working with second generation and third generation, ethanol that is there, which is we are doing in India.
Since you are saying you are investing so heavily, before I ask you for more details on capex, on an aside, has it ever sort of struck you that maybe the nomenclature of the brand has to be tweaked to reflect the new future. Instead of Indian oil, maybe call it Indian energy.
We are already, our tagline is already there, Energy of India.
Yes.
And it is for global energy. Now we have to move to global energy or something of that sort. But Indian oil will remain, but it will be an energy of India.
Energy
I will not be, as I said, going forward, it will not be more than 50-60% of my offerings in energy coming from conventional fuels. It will be more than.
You know, there are other PSUs, big PSUs, which have done slight tweaks to nomenclature, including in the power space. But since you were talking about investment, obviously the question would be, what is the capex outlay over a medium 3 to 5 year term that Indian Oil has? You're a very large company, and all of this will require capex. So give us some details on that.
If you say 3 to 5 years is a very small horizon. From 3 to 5 years is already invested.
Underway.
It's already underway. It's already on the floor. My $10 billion worth of investments, 1 lakh crores worth of investments are already on the floor. That is for increasing my refining capacity primarily. So I want to ensure that my core is with me. I want to ensure that energy is available to every Indian. It is accessible to every Indian, and it's affordable to every Indian. So for that matter, my energy, my refining capacities have to increase by 20 to 25% to meet the requirements of 2030 and beyond. So that is the $10 billion kind of investment that we are doing right now. Another 10 billion will be invested in newer areas, which will be largely driven by petrochemicals. Petrochemicals is a very logical hedge for me. It's a very logical progression for me going forward. So another 8 to 10 billion dollars are in planned way, which will be investing in phased manner up till 2030 and beyond 2030 also. And another 10 to 15 billion dollars will come into newer forms of energy. That will be renewable, that will be bio, that will be
entire mix. You know, you are a state-owned company. You are one of the biggest Maharatnas that India has seen. In all of this scenario, what would your comments be on the issue of what kind of policy support environment you would require, including perhaps regulatory inputs, to ensure that your returns to the shareholder are good and continue to increase over the next many years?
We are primarily free. Like government is a shareholder, but we have our own policies. Like each Maharatna, if you say, or each oil company you say, will have its own trajectory of diverting from, like we have invested heavily in refineries, like not many have not done. We have already invested heavily in petchem, not all of us have done in OMC space, also in oil marketing companies in the space of that. So we have a different trajectory, we have a different vision, and for that vision, I have a full support of my government, because they have been there supporting us in all sustainable energy scenarios, whether it is through that bio policy, or it comes to that global biofuel alliance is there, which is we are also through our ministry or through our government we are there. So I think government is totally aware of what are requirements of the industry all as a whole, not only to PSUs or not only. So they are already aware, and we are getting full support from them whenever it is required, and they are also proactively coming for us. So,
you know, many years ago, perhaps I had read the term for the first time, peak oil. You will be familiar with that term,
yes.
Peak oil, but I am asking you this question from the point of view of crude oil pricing. We are still very largely dependent on imports, and we have now seen crude oil prices cross $80 to the barrel. What is the outlook for 2025 in your view?
Like once it is beyond 80, it is in a very, we can say, very shaky level or very delicate level. It is placed at a very delicate level. It has been caused by recent incidents, recent geopolitical occurrings that have happened. That's why it has gone beyond 80. And going forward, and whatever is the effect of that is very, effect will be there. If you say that effect is not there, effect will be there. So, but in my considered sense, and we have a very detailed analysis that we go on doing, because this is the bread and butter for us. So in our considered view, the range of 75 to 80 is where the crude will be settling for this year. And in my preference and in my analysis, personal analysis, it will be more towards 75 than towards 80. between the range of 75 to 80. So it will be somewhere there.
What will this mean for consumers? The reason I ask you that now it's possibly the third year running where pump prices, retail prices have remained static. It's a policy decision. But do you see that changing anytime soon?
Actually, we have to have a very delicate balance. Again, I'll say the consumer prices and our economy is one of the most robust ones, which has maintained the crude prices or the pump prices, as you call them, at a very stable rate without hurting the consumer at all. The fluctuations have been enormous. You have seen $120 also, you have seen $80 also, you have seen $60, $70 also. We have seen everything here.
Yeah, it's a very big range.
It's a very big range to which.
And perhaps this is not a point that is appreciated well. How much Indian fuel purchasers have been insulated from the volatility that we have seen?
So we are keeping a very close watch on the consumer prices. We are not insulating ourselves from the consumer plight. But at the same time, we have to be very aware of how the economy will respond to these kind of fluctuations, and they have to be insulated from these kind of fluctuations. These are vagaries, I will call.
But Mr. Sahney, I want to ask you about insulating your crude oil purchases from global risk. There is global uncertainty post-COVID that happened. Every 3 months we come across something new. In all the geopolitical changes, Indian policy, government at the center and at many states, everything is stable. But you as a buyer, as a large buyer of crude oil, is there anything that you can share with us in terms of how you are insulating yourself from possible global uncertainty in this regard, one country imposing sanctions on another country? What is the scenario there?
Over the years, we have developed a very robust and a very flexible system of sourcing of crude. Like until unless this war happened in Ukraine, we were buying a very minuscule quantity of Russian crude. It was less than 2% or 3%. Once the war happened, Russia was not allowed to send it to Europe. The Russian barrels started flowing to India and China. So today, India as a whole is buying almost 30% of its crude from one source, that is Russia. And now again, if sanctions have come, so again we have to align with the world order and we have to move away from there, and then we have enough crude that is available in the world, and we have enough geopolitical and commercial alliances with Middle East, be it OPEC, be it OPEC plus, be it non-OPEC also, like US or Guyana or Brazil or some countries. So we have so many options today available, and we are not closing our eyes to wherever good quantity and good price of crude is available, and we are pretty much insulated from whatever is happening in the geopolitics.
Will Russia continue to remain a supplier to whatever quantum of crude to India?
It's difficult, and we are still watching what is happening in geopolitics. As of now, we are abiding by whatever is sanctions are there in place. We are abiding with them, and we have abode with them in earlier days also. But we'll have to see how the situations come out. There are so many things happening, even today so many things are happening.
As we wind down the conversation, I want to ask you, consumers, hundreds of millions of consumers across India know Indian oil through the pumps that they visit.
Yeah, of course.
And you have a massive footprint. And this is a question that I ask pretty much every chairman of Indian Oil that I ask. Any thoughts on how to further improve the consumer experience? And is there an expansion in terms of the outlets that a number or any plans that you can share with us?
Expansions are always in there. We have a 3-year plan in which we are going to at least 1.5 times increase our retail outlets. So and every oil marketing company is doing it. So we are going to do that. But as the first question is more interesting, that what we can do for the customer experience on the forecourt when he comes. We are in the process of developing several use cases wherein we will be using AI and machine learning for increasing the experience of the person there.
Oil company is also using AI.
Of course, we have to do it.
AI is everywhere.
Yeah, it has, because it is very useful, and we have enough data. We have lot of data. Like you coming to my petrol pump, I have your
hundreds
data.
Hundreds of millions.
I have your data, and I have hundreds of 3 crore people coming to my petrol pumps only for Indian Oil, and leave alone the other ones. So we have those data, and then we have to approach you, as a customer. I have to approach you. I have to entice you. I have to bring you to my fold, and then I have to retain you as a customer. I have to interact with you. I have to talk to you, but I can't do it as a physical person. So I have to employ machine learning. I have to employ AI. I have to use these digital technologies to reach out to you and to bring it to you to my forecourt.
Okay, so very clearly the consumer experience at that place will not just be that of a petrol pump. Many of you already use the convenience stores, which are very good to have at such places. As we wind down the conversation, you have taken on a very important job. It's a big responsibility. One final thing, if I were to ask you to, what would be your single most important priority in this responsibility, what would you say?
My responsibility will be to see that I take this company towards the vision that is there for increasing the sustainability portion of it. And the biggest challenge and the biggest enabler in there will be the people. How I develop my people, how I retrain my people, how I bring in that talent from outside, so that enables me to move forward in these newer areas. I know my business of refining and petrochemical and the distribution of oil, that I know, that is my core business. But these other areas are the newer areas, and I need talent for that. Either I have to identify my people and return them into those technologies, or I get to people from the market and they have to come and teach us how to do it and join hands with us and move forward. So that is going to be the biggest challenge and the biggest enabler for whatever I want to achieve here in this tenure here.
Mr. Sahney, I wish you very best, all
you.
the very best for that. That was the chairman of Indian Oil talking about the company, its priorities, and also the outlook for where crude oil prices are likely to stay. More towards 75 than 80 is the key point that Mr. Sahney made. If you've been watching, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello